What's up, guys, and welcome to one of the final videos, and maybe even the final video before Trailblazer finally gets released tomorrow. But I figured today's video would be pretty fitting because it's basically like my final tips before Trailblazer launches that I feel like you should consider and you should know. And our first tip is going to be check each area's task before launch. Jagex has announced that before release they are going to release, I just double said release there, but before Trailblazer launches, I guess you should say, they're going to release all of the relics as well as each area's tasks. And if you're iffy on which region you should pick, look at all of the area's tasks and determine which area that you really like a lot of the tasks from and you would consider much rather doing those. Because one thing to note that I remember Husky posting that he's not going to be choosing Asgarnia or Kandarin, and that's because he doesn't like the task set in each area. And coming from a person who's worked on the league and knows all of the tasks, that might not be something you're into. So if you're on the bubble and you're considering one of those two areas, you might want to heavily look into what task you're going to have to do in order to get a high amount of points if you're going to pick those areas. But now for the next tip, and that is going to be don't waste time on item spawns. This one's basically going to be a big importance on day one and could cost you a lot of time. I know there's been plenty of instances in Twisted League where you had to wait for something and it really could have threw off your plan. Most importantly, what I'm speaking with in terms of item spawns is going to be some of the early game things like buckets or especially the knife. If you're not doing Misthalin Mystery where you're guaranteed a free knife, definitely don't waste your time just sitting there in Lumbridge trying to pick one up for the first 15 minutes of the league. There are other opportunities to get one. Honestly, I'm sure a majority of people's plans out there, you could get the knife in a different spot later on. You don't have to camp Lumbridge to get it. Don't completely throw off your early game schedule just to pick up a knife. But now moving on into a couple of the ones that I'm actually going to keep written down, and that is going to be check relic progression often. And what I mean by this is that as soon as you unlock the second relic, you get a passive bonus where you're now going to be gaining 8x experience rather than 5x. And that's going to be huge. I have this mentally noted because I don't want to accidentally do something that's quite a bit of a grind right before I unlock that relic, because I would have saved myself so much more time just to spend an extra 30 minutes to unlock the relic first and then go train. Because then not only do I gain more league points, but then I'm also saving more time on the training than I would have had to do before that. But now for the final tip I'm going to have in this video, and this one I would honestly say is incredibly important as well, just like the other relic one. And this one is check relic synergy, and this means from relic to relic and from relic to region. Some relics are just going to be better together than others. For example, the one relic we already got released early apart from the tier 1 was a tier 5 relic, and that was Equilibrium. And judging by this Equilibrium relic, we can tell that the tier 1 relics 1 and 2 were far better together with this relic than the Skilling Prodigy relic. The Skilling Prodigy and Equilibrium don't really have too much of a synergy, whereas Production Master and Equilibrium have a very good synergy. And this one's honestly a very good example, and that's because there are a couple different classes in terms of our relics. Tier 1 and 5 are our skilling relics, so definitely those two will have some synergies between them that you are definitely going to want to consider whenever you're picking. And Tier 3 and Tier 6 are going to have massive synergy. Don't get me wrong though, even some of the other relics are going to have better synergy between each other. Even the Teleportation relic or the Utility relic that we really don't have too much information on right now. But now for the second part of that tip, you also want to consider relic to region synergy. And one example of this could be with the tier 2 relics, and that is because they are the transportation class. And we already know one of them has to do something with fairy rings, and that's because the sprite was literally a circle of mushrooms and fairy wings. So it definitely has to do something with fairy rings. We don't exactly know what it is, but a lot of the original guesses were you could make a fairy ring where you were standing anywhere in the map and teleport to any of the fairy ring locations that were actually on map. So let's just say that's the one thing that exists. Synergy between that relic and region could mean a region where using a certain fairy ring would save you a bunch of time, or a region that just has a bunch of fairy rings in general. I mean, for example, let's just say you use Fremennik, and using the fairy ring from your bank straight to the Slayer cave could be an absolute time saver, especially not having to worry about Slayer rings at all. Or another one is I feel like Kandarin just has a bunch of fairy ring teleport spots in general because it's a big ass part of the map. So maybe that relic would have great synergy with Kandarin because you could jump from one side of Kandarin all the way to the other by just throwing a couple fairy rings at your feet. Now this isn't necessarily accurate because we don't really know what that relic is, but I'm just trying to portray an example of how a relic can actually enhance a region or even have the potential to save you more time than what you originally thought. But those are some of the tips I wanted to get crossed in this video. These are not the end-all be-all tips for Trailblazer. There are plenty of other tips, and I'm not trying to say that these are any more important than others, but these are a couple tips that I personally thought myself that I should keep noted, so I figured I might as well make a video to potentially help some other people as well in that area. But as I said, these are definitely not all the tips for Trailblazer, and if you have any yourself that you feel like would be of value to people, drop them down in the comments below. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for all of the support on the previous Trailblazer videos. The channel's been absolutely popping off, so thank you guys so much for that. If you have enjoyed the content or you're looking forward to my future videos and you haven't already subscribed, consider hitting that button and consider dropping a like on this video if you found it helpful at all. Both of which massively help this channel out, and you guys have massively helped this channel out a lot in the previous couple weeks. But apart from that, Leagues 2 is dropping tomorrow. The excitement is continuing to build. My Twitch link is down in the description. We will be live streaming a bunch on day 1. Go hit me a follow down there if you have not already. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have enjoyed all of the Trailblazer content, and it ain't stopping now. So I hope I see you guys in either the live stream tomorrow or a future Trailblazer video. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next. Peace.